Summers in the Chihuahuan Desert are hot. Going from a nice, comfortable indoor situation like this to off-grid, the normal solution is to spend a fortune on solar panels and batteries. In today's episode, I'm going to show you how we built a geothermal system and how I worked with a mechanical engineer to design something that will be 75 degrees even if it's 100 degrees outside, without using any electricity whatsoever.
This property that I'm going to build on it's hard to overstate how remote it is. Mm-hmm. It's 2 hours down a dirt road. I think it really is the most isolated spot in the state of Texas that you can drive to. As we were brainstorming how to build this thing, concrete truck isn't going to happen. The concrete's going to be solidified before it gets there. And so we settled on sandbags for a lot of reasons. One is it's a desert and it's full of sand and gravel. So we can use the material on site. And two is I found an attachment for a skid steer that loads 3,000 bags a day. I bought that attachment. I own all the sandbags. I've been working with the architect. I've been telling him like how critical it is that the thermal performance of the building is absolutely optimized. I'm off grid. I don't want to spend a fortune on batteries and electrical systems. I'd rather spend money on engineering and make sure it's built as optimally as it can be for its environment. Sounds like you have a pretty close to ideal background to help me do that.
Yeah, so all that sounds good. You're right with the sand. That's a good medium to use because really the general problem is going to be sealing up all of the penetrations in the house. So all the windows, the doors, like making sure that those are not poorly constructed.
Yeah, leaky. Right.
Yeah, leaky, because the cooling strategy sounds like you guys have got it figured out. It's going to be the solar chimney that you've already got on there, along with, I would recommend the holes in the top of the roof, like we were talking about with the Yachtals.
Yeah, actually, so that's, I saw you write that. I have no idea who he is.
Interesting. So it's not a person. It's actually like a ancient Middle Eastern technology that essentially they used to make food storage and made ice with it. So it's basically like the shape that you have of kind of like a honeycomb looking shape with.
Oh, I've seen those. Okay, I've seen that on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, like it pulls in air from the bottom. And then the one thing in the design that's not there is that there's a big pit at the bottom of it. So what happens is that naturally the cool air will come in, fall down into the pit, and then the hot air will rise up through the chimney at the top. And then it all just circulates like that. And it's pretty much just like straightforward natural ventilation. So that's cool. I would want some more confirmation on the temperature of the limestone that you were talking about. Surface level of digging into the limestone might be a little hotter, but geothermal like cooling solutions go down real deep so that they get that constant, like never changing number. Problem with that is it takes a lot of like effort to get that far down.
Yeah. And this is, it's a 700 square foot cabin.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Occasionally I'm a little vain and I Google myself. One of the things I really dislike in the search results is seeing personal information, private information about myself available to anyone that wants to see it. When I see pages like this, it makes me feel kind of gross. It makes me realize that when I'm online, often I am the product. Data brokers are online selling my contact information, my personal data, and I don't like it. What I appreciate about Aura is that they are working in the background to protect me. So anybody that wants to send me robocalls to buy my data, Aura's taking care of that in the background. Check out the related search for Sean Overton. The most common is Sean Overton net worth. None of your business. Data brokers are legally required to accept opt-out requests, but I don't have the time or the energy to go figure out who those data brokers are. Aura does that for me. It's a benefit that I want, but I'm not willing to do the work myself. I love that Aura is so affordable that I can just pay the monthly fee and I know that they're scrubbing my data all across the internet. The app provides me with things like identity theft insurance, parental controls, a VPN solution, but I don't have to download 5 different apps to get all of the different benefits. It's all contained within one single Aura app. Aura is all things digital security. And as the owner of a software company, Accruvia, I'm very security minded. I love knowing that I can get the benefits of digital security without doing any work myself. You can allow the status quo where you are the product, or you can do something about it. Go to aura.com/dustup to start your free 2-week trial. The mechanical engineer needs to know the temperature performance of the soil so that he can design the sandbag house in a way that he doesn't have to use electricity to heat or cool it. I think that's it, man. That's it. That's not very deep. Yeah, I thought it was 1 to 3 feet, but it's
less than a foot.
1 foot, 1.5 inches. It is shallow. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna stuff it in this bag here. I've already set it up on my phone so I get a live temperature reading. All I want to do is keep dirt from getting inside this, and the humidity, that's probably going to get messed up from the bag, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to temporarily bury this for a day, collect some data, and then I will come back tomorrow and recollect this bag. Here's the live data from the sensor. And so all I'm going to do is cover the sensor with all this dirt, and I might even be able to get the data, probably not through the soil. It'd be nice if I didn't have to dig it up, but if I do, it'll take me 5 minutes, so it's a pretty easy task. That's it. That's right. That's it.
I found your YouTube channel, so I was keeping up. It was pretty cool. Yeah, my girlfriend's sister's boyfriend, like he's very dead set on 10 years from now having pretty much the same thing. So he's like planning it right now. Yeah. He was excited to hear.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's fun. There's just all these little random connections, stories like you just shared with me, where I don't know, a lot of people have the same vision. It's just it finally came together for me to be able to do it.
You saw the data. That was like 1.5 feet deep or just over a foot deep.
Yeah, just over a
it
foot.
varied pretty
A lot.
Yeah.
I recorded myself looking at the data, and it was not a happy reaction.
Yeah. And that's the problem. It's like all of those temps were warmer than the air.
And not that PVC is all that great, but I was reading PVC actually has pretty good thermal transfer.
Yeah, I saw that, and I think HDPE might be better in terms of thermal transfer. I was targeting PVC as potentially I'm thinking of two banks. It's like the thermal on the outside and then the inside the house that are the better heat transfer pipes. And then you'll just have one thin pipe that is more insulated running in between those, so that if it is 40 feet away from the house, it's not like just losing all of its heat before it even gets to the house.
Right. Do you think it'd be possible for you to just something a little better than finger in the air guess how far into the rock I need to go, knowing that we're going for something around 700 square feet?
Into the depth for underneath the house?
Yeah. So if I'm digging into the slope, how far into that slope do I have to go to feel confident that I'm going to get the temperatures that I'm looking for?
8 feet would be consistent temperatures.
So you're basically talking like 6 feet on the horizontal, but 8 feet lateral. Something like that?
Exactly. Yep.
Functional tread. No function. Earlier, this came off, mostly up front. We got it back on, but when we went to go fill the grease, went to fit the tread back on, the grease gun didn't work. So Brandon had to go to town, which is forever away. No more broke. Okay. Do a donut. Don't do a donut.
No.
A little different than the office.
Yeah, just a bit. It literally looks fake. That's so crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I just saw your message about the data for the soil temperatures. Forgot you'd left it out there. That looks great. Just consistent temperatures for so long is like all you need.
And that was like, because, I had a heart attack when I first pulled up the data the original time. But then this time I saw it sync and I saw the chart and it's like, oh, thank God. Okay. 45 to 50. I didn't see the exact range, but 45, 55, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I think it barely got up to like 53. So the pipes, going to be laying them in the ground at that depth, like 3 or 4 feet, whatever you can get down there. Doesn't matter if it's a flat floor. You don't need to live in that space. So you can just crush rock, dig it out, and lay it down. And then pour cement on top of it just so it's good and thermally connected. And then my idea was to punch through that hypothetical 3-foot depth of the like wall in that, which is just the rock. But if you don't want to do that, which makes sense, we can just kind of like cut out another mini section in the house and then just have the pipes like stick out from the floor. At one of the sandbags, there would just be like the trench underneath it, and the trench would just enter your house a little bit.
Yeah.
Enough to go straight up with a bend and then have the air there. With this solution, this kind of takes away the base air out inlets and the plant life surrounding the house as like cooling that air coming in. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't do that.
Right.
I think it's a benefit regardless, especially if you then just put it around your windows, because then that air will be blowing over through your windows, out up through the top. And like you'll have a good cross ventilation and that cooling effect will get in. So for those mid-season, like shoulder season days, I still think that there is benefit to growing some plant life around, which is your goal anyway.
Yeah. Now, and I think what I'm going to do for the intake pipe is there's a slope there's two slopes on both sides, east-west. And on the east side, that's where I want to lay the trench because it keeps the sun off of it for the maximum amount of time. And so we can have like the plants will grow better on that face. The air is going to be cooler on that face. And then it's going to be so much easier.
At 25 feet, that's really the end of the hole having real depth. And that's my ramp out. So I think, Sean, that this could be refilled pretty easily.
So does my background still look fake?
No, for some reason this time it looks better. Maybe I'm just expecting it.
Maybe. We're definitely at the point where Nick needs to confer with you, Rami, because we've batted around some ideas and he now has the analysis and actual data to make some informed judgments about what would be required from an engineering perspective to make the whole thing passive. But of course, in the real world, humans need to live in the building and wants to have a pleasing, beautiful structure to set foot in. So we want to find some compromises about what is realistic and how does that impact budgets and so on. So I'll let Nick explain what he's currently thinking might be the best solution. And then I'm probably just going to sit out and let you guys talk about what a realistic way to proceed is.
So essentially, this is just call it like an outdoor mechanical room.
Okay.
The plan was to dig a trench from somewhere outside of the home and then have a supply fan push through to cool the air from the outside and then disperse into the home. Essentially, at the top of each of the circular mounds, let's call it, this hot air at the top will start pulling up and out. And at the base level of each of the rooms, we should have a mini duct. It would be something like this. And inside there would be my duct, right? So now this is our air inlets at the base ground level, so that when we are just using the natural ventilation through the roof up at the peak of the mound, we'll have that hole in the roof covered with something to keep the rain and critters out. We'll just like wire mesh screen and some sort of louver at the top. These will open with these dampers so that we'll get the natural ventilation going in. However, if we do have a problem and that's not getting the place cool enough, then this more active system is what's going to cool the inside of the space. So we were talking about aluminum pipes underneath. The one thing that I missed about the PVC or just plastic pipes underground was that the wall thickness is so much more thinner that the heat transfer versus an aluminum pipe, even though aluminum and heat transfers heat better, this like 4-inch corrugated HDPE pipe, if we just get more of it, it will do the same job. So I think that's one insanely cheaper option. The only problem with that is it is corrugated. So that means that it's just going to take more. It's going to be a larger pressure drop over the longer distance. We would just need a higher static fan, which just means that it's going to need more power. So like that is the balance we're working with.
I mean, a fan doesn't bother me, right, Nick? Like if it's a fan and not a propeller, then that's okay. What I'm really trying to stay away from is refrigeration because that's the energy hog. So even if it's powering a big fan, that's fine.
300 watts were the fans that I was looking at. So it's not too big, but it's also not a light bulb, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
And that's just because it's not the material, it's the corrugation that's messing up the airflow.
Yeah. However, the corrugation helps tremendously with the heat transfer because there's more surface area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely is a balance. I couldn't find a thin walled, non-corrugated plastic pipe because corrugation adds the strength. So
Right.
that's the balance. I saw a 100-foot coil of this corrugated 4-inch pipe, and it was like $100.
That's my kind of budget.
Yeah, exactly. Like if it's all underground and we are coming up here, right? That means that whatever rain comes down will get into the pipes, but then it'll just go right through and drain into the ground. So that would also solve any type of condensation that we get inside of the drain. However, we need to keep in mind like just mold growth and anything that is going inside of that pipe. That's just another system that I haven't fully worked out all of the kinks, like the operational kinks. I've just gotten to the point where the heat transfer is good. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at.
We'll see how the excavation goes, but that part we can play by ear because I know that the deeper I go, the better performance I'm going to get.
Okay.
So if it becomes a huge hassle, I can grind it out to 4 feet. If it's going reasonably okay, it's worth while I have all the equipment out there just to take it to 6, then we can do that.
You really just need space for the fan, the service area of the fan, and also just a little bit of time or length of ductwork for the air to fully develop. We just need to figure out structural support for the fan. And essentially this piping system is just schematic right now. Like I'm going to try to draw a detail showing like actual connection points and how to seal it and do a couple other things. Like it'll be like a manifold where these will have dampers on them so that you can just turn on and off a couple of them at a time. Like this fan will blow a certain amount of air through and it'll get evenly divided through each of these pipes, which will help because the slower the air goes through the pipes, the more heat transfer will get into the house. And then the total CFM will get into the house itself and a significant amount, but the actual heat transfer will do better going through separate pipes.
You want me to walk around or you want to give me a tour?
Yeah, okay. So see the orange paint right there on the rock? That's about your 25-foot mark.
Okay.
Just inside the wall of the house.
Nice. All right.
So.
Wow. That doesn't come out on film.
No, it's massive.
Yeah.
It's
Holy cow.
as precise as you can get with a skid steer blade if you want to go deep.
Okay. No, this is great. And I was wondering how this, I mean, even if there was a drainage problem, that water is going to run down there anyway. This is perfect.
Yeah. So there's a lot of filling to do, but I didn't want to fill it up yet because it might need some more up there because that scree there is all this side of where you want the back of the hole, but I didn't know.
No, I mean, I could just take a shovel.
Like that and
I'll just get a shovel
if you're
down there.
comfortable being down there.
I don't want to like hang out, but it's fine for
Hopefully
10 minutes.
just not by yourself.
Yeah.
Without someone around.
Okay.
Certainly hard packed stuff. I can't imagine it coming down. It's so hard to move that material.
Yeah.
As you can see, you're just having to bust. It's basically
all
rock
that dark
down
brown part.
Yeah, it's all rock down there.
Yeah. I got a much better sense for how much work's been done.
Yeah, I knew.
It wasn't coming out on film.
Yeah, it looks like a little pile of dirt, but that represents a lot of hours.
Cool, man. I think, yeah, we're actually pretty close to get started.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, let's do it.
Pliers again.
Pliers?
Oh, actually, the toolbox is over there. Now that
No, I put it in the truck.
Release those balls and give it a different grip point.
The toolbox is over here.
Dang!
Yeah. Good. Take it out.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
How's it going down there?
Good, man.
Sweet.
I'll be ready in 10 minutes. What's that?
If you're going to do this in the future, well, I guess it doesn't matter. They're, both the ends are taped.
Yeah.
Well, one end is tapered and one end is flared on the black ones.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Ideally I'd have connectors, but I couldn't get all the parts. The engineer said it's fine just to tape it.
Yeah.
we're about to start infilling this trench so that I can have the HVAC system in place, and then I can start laying the foundation for the mechanical room. What we've done is we've used these 2x4s that are 8 feet long, just wide enough to span the trench, and we're just using those to temporarily hold the pipes up straight. Brandon is going to pile material right before then. Unfortunately, we have to shovel it so that we get enough material around the pipes without hurting them. And then once the two ends, that end and that end, are locked in place with just the weight of the dirt, then Brandon from the top is going to be able to drive the skid up and dump the rest of the material in. We're going to have to use a shovel for some of these parts, but hopefully just a couple of yards. He'll be able to get almost all the material in.